Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Wildcard podcast. This time, G is back in the saddle. It's great to have him back. I want to thank Charles Sanford and Cody Lamas. Sanford for stepping in as a sub, and Cody with the great work of the bat drop. Absolute legend. Top G right there from Cody. Thank you so much, Cody, for the bat drop. You always make our shows look great. G, it's great to have you back, man. Obviously, I know you've been busy with a lot of stuff, including school and a little bit of life, too. Just, it's great to have you, man. Had an interesting Tide 32 to recap. Just your initial thoughts on the round, considering you weren't here the last episode. And what are you looking forward to talk about tonight as we preview the Sandy 16?
Yeah, I mean, of course, to start, it is great to be back again. Last time, crazy schoolwork and stuff. This whole semester has been kind of crazy, so had to get that focus. Schoolwork always comes first, but um, really, with this round, I think it's interesting because most of these games, as you know, I was not here live, but I did take a look back and look through some of the games we had to just take a look to see what was going on in each matchup. So I think I have some thoughts on some specific games, but I'm looking forward to jump into this, and we'll also have another D2 with G section once we get through this tie 32 because we have the April Airwave which has just begun and is about to conclude round one action. So got some stuff to go through with that there. But KT, let's get things going here with the tie 32 recap.
Let's do it, baby. Let's go to the Shark region. Let's start with the top Shark himself. Zach versus KT. It was myself. Well, listen, G, if you don't want to have any thoughts on this one, I understand. This was a classic KT game, man. Bunch of sneak attacks, bunch of just, as Zach said, you're playing some of the best Uno. I've been playing very well, right? Just took care of business. I don't really got much to add. It was just a classic 4-0 sweep, 1-2 in the round. I don't have much to add here, G. Honest to God, and I played. I just kind of took care of business. Number one overall seed overall, and the number one play got it done. Is that how you saw it? There's not much really to add here.
Yeah, I think it's that, but I'm also relatively disappointed with some of the plays Zach did in this game. I mean, you mentioned it with the sneak attacks. That's the second time in a row where you were able to get away with that a lot against the round 32 opponent. I think some of these players have really got to start paying attention more to the cards or even use the table check more. Try to not get that sneak up there because that's never really a good situation to be in. Because you see it like especially game four, reverse change to the end and you still don't call Uno, you still have a chance. You still have a chance to keep the game going, and then you get to play the wild and it's over. So I think more people need to have call out on the ready or like keep track of the cards left in their head, especially against players who like doing those sneak attack. So they kind of backfires against them. So you could just do a call out instead of doing a table check. And I also have to mention also this league there's no call out penalty. So if you have a feeling that someone's at Uno, just feel free to call it out. You're not going to get penalized for it. So I feel like more people need to start going for the call outs and not just being lazy with it. So that was my biggest takeaway from this matchup. But yeah, dominant 4-0 victory. I think the problem with Zach here in this league is I don't think he's had a single tournament where he has won more than one game, and I think he really needs to figure out a way to break that going forward.
All right, we'll talk about the Sandy 16 a little bit in appearances a little later in the show. I will give respect to Zach, though. He is a very good dude. Played it clean, showed respect. I can appreciate that. But let's move on to the next matchup, G. This one's a good one, really good. Vapor Lamas, obviously for Vapor. A lot of questions were surrounding him. What could he do on higher card starts, 10 plus? And man, oh man, he showed he can play because he won on the games where it was plus 10, 10 plus, and did a good job. The problem is the stuff that normally you would think you win on, the sixes, the sevens, the nines. He failed, and he couldn't get it done. So it was a role reversal. Cody with a power play beast move on game 5, where Vapor had the finishing run. He used the power play and timed it correctly. Got the win. I think this is a big statement for Lamas, man. Obviously, it's going to be me and him in the next round. But your thoughts on Lamas? Needed a statement. Takes the 2-0 early after that Brad loss that to many should have never even happened due to the sickness. Thoughts on Cody improving here, and what can he do? Looking forward to the next round a little bit. And thoughts on Vapor showing steps in the right direction on 10 plus.
I mean, this is, I think, an interesting situation because I did remember, if you recall, at the start of the year, I did pick Lakota Llamas to miss Super League. So this is definitely a good step after having a disappointing March. But I mean, he's got a big challenge going up. KT going to be a 1 vs 5 game. I think Llamas really needs that win to throw any doubt out the window of him not being able to go back to where he was last season. So I think this is going to be an important game. You remember also Lamas made his debut in April last year, was able to make it to the Final Four then. So looking for a similar run here. We have seen that sometimes. We have seen that so far sometimes with some of these players. We saw March Monkey, we saw KT make it to the Final Four March and then went on to win the whole thing. So we've seen some similarities from last year with some of these players who were a bit or older in the league. So I'm curious if Lamas is going to try to bring that momentum to go forward. And I actually do think this is a favorable matchup for Lamas when it comes to the player pool he could have got. Because I mean, I think with Lamas, he's better suited against players who are a little more experienced and have that certain style where it's like more where it's more I guess slower paced, but not too slow, but something that like shows a lot of experience. So I think that's actually a good matchup for Lamas to draw here. So we'll see how that goes. But for Vapor, I mean, I think with Vapor, he's about where he was before. He needs something to get ahead this season because I believe this is the second time he's gone out in this round this year. Which if he wants to make Super League, I don't think that's going to be good enough. So he's got to figure out a way to break this round of 32 draw he's in so far. He's 0 for 2 in this round for 2024, so he's got to figure out a way to get out of this round.
Well, the one thing I will say about Vapor, and he knows it too, he can only take it to the limit when he understands the limit. And I think that's something he needs to look into, G. He needs to understand the limit a little better. I think he's going to learn that eventually. I don't know if he'll come T3, but it needs to come T4 for sure if he wants to get into that first Sandy 16. He's been to an Echo 8 before in Sandy, but he hasn't been one since T5, and now he's on a 2-streak tournament where he hasn't been able to get a magic win to get over the hump in this round. We'll see how it goes. We'll look forward to seeing him back for T3. Gee, this was the more surprising upset, I think. Even though a lot of people
Oh, wait a second.
it was complete domination. Fair play to Yepes for fighting back like an absolute champ. But at the end of the day, it just seemed like Cap had his number, and it wasn't a typical Yepes performance. Kind of danced around it, tried his best. A little bit of issues early, but the card luck, as everyone talks about, he said it was fair. It was a fair game, just a little bit of split ammo control he wasn't prepared for, and he got the job done. Congratulations to Captain. For Yepes, more of a learning experience. This is the second tournament in a row where the expectations weren't met. I mean, we had him going to Elite 8, Final 4. A lot of people thought he could get there. In T1 here, everyone thought for sure he could be a shoo-in in the Elite 8, but he didn't get there. It's opened the door, and big win for Captains because we all know that Fitzy DQ win. Not a good look, right? Needed to get back in the schneid after a 6-week hiatus. Thoughts on this matchup for Captain moving forward? And Yepes, is he in a little bit of pickle situation here? What do we think?
You did cut out there slightly at the start, but I don't think anything important was cut out there. But yeah, you say it was a surprising result, but oh Jesus, what on earth was that? Okay. Um, okay. Going back to what I was saying. Yeah, I mean, you say it's surprising, but I'm not, Katie. Something might be up with your mic. Do you keep like doing a slight static? I don't know. But okay, let me try this again. Hopefully, this doesn't happen again. You say that this was an upset, a surprising upset, but I think it's interesting because I actually think this was one of the more popular upset picks this round. I saw a lot of people picking Captain to win this one. And that ended up being the result. I probably would have picked Captain too if I was on the last episode as well. Of course, I wasn't able to really get my predictions, but that's probably what I would have gone with. I think Captain has a lot to bring to the table, and Yepes is kind of in a weird spot right now. I don't think he's in a terrible spot, but it's like kind of like it's not where you wanted he was before because he won Super League last year, and well, there goes KT. Well,
I
no, he's
can't hear.
back.
Sorry, G, I couldn't hear you speak there for a second. It was weird.
You were staticking out a lot, so I don't know. I'm not sure what happened with that. But
Could be the challenge bracket I have open. Sometimes when I click on challenge, it freezes my computer, so that's all good. I'll probably just switch over to my bracket base. That'll be easier. I probably missed that whole thing, so I'll probably rewatch that back. But you probably were saying something about Yepes and a pickle. If you want to repeat that.
yeah, I was just talking about how I thought this was actually not that surprising. This was probably one of the more popular upset picks of the round. I saw a lot of people pick Captain. I probably would have picked Captain if I was in the last episode, but I think with this, Yepes is in a weird spot because like he's 3-2 now, which is not bad, but it's not where he was before. Last year, where although then again, last year he was the 10 seed going into Super League due to like a bunch of mixed performances. But I mean,
Right.
when you come into it, like you usually the defending champion's usually like someone who's more towards the higher pack. I would not argue he's there. I still think he's within the Super League bubble, but I don't. I think he's on the lower end of it right now. So we're gonna have to keep an eye out for that. But Yepes is in a weird spot. I think captain's really able to shine this tournament. Lost to Ashley in March, but not getting Ashley yet, and they're gonna have a good matchup against their Sandy 16 opponent, which we'll get to in a second. But good stuff from Captain. I think Yepes, obviously, you want to go further, but I don't think this is something where he should be in full panic mode. I think he's fine right now, but he's just got to make sure he rebounds from this and tries to make a run for Tournament 3. Because if he can make it to at least the Elite 8 in whenever I think it's going to be June. We're not sure about that yet. It could be May if it ends early enough, but if he could get that at least an Elite 8 run in Tournament 3, I think he's very much fine going into the rest of the season.
Yeah, T3 will start in May, and it will end way before July. In fact, we're ahead of schedule, but we're not going to talk about too much about scheduling. We'll probably talk about that in the next episode we do, which will kind of be our episode to discuss not this tournament, but when we get done with the post tournament, or a little bit of a Super League episode, we'll kind of capture everyone as we have Super League Reveal 1 very shortly coming up in a couple weeks. But good win for the captain of the Seven Seas. Now, for Drip and Myth, this was a classic. Drip was playing Drip. I mean, there was things where I never even thought I'd see Drip do. +4, draw. +2, +2, draw. Interesting, extremely interesting Uno power play. All over the board. And then Myth at the same time was all over the board too. He has not been, I guess, lethal on power play. He's still learning it, but he did have a good tournament considering he was supposed to get smoked by Carson. He smoked Carson. I think it's a positive step. I mean, he broke the 1-year winless streak. But for Drip G, I mean, we talked about this. We talked about that top rookie prospect. He was right up there with Stingray and Ashley at the beginning of the year. This has got to be the run for him. He's going to play a captain. That's going to be an interesting. What's the ceiling for Drip? And thoughts on Myth? What he's got to do coming in T3 coming out? It's a big tournament for him too. Next tournament.
Uh, I think it's very hard to read Myth off this because I think you look back at the Carson game and I don't know how much you could really take from that because I think there was a mutual agreement that there was some really lopsided hands in that one. So I'm not sure how much you could take from that. I think from this, I don't. I think Myth had a solid showing, but again, it's in a loss against a player who was hyped up at the start with Drip. Drip definitely making the run that a lot of people were hoping for him. He can make in March, and now he's into the Sweet 16. But I do think he's got a real challenge up ahead of him against Captain here. So we'll see how that turns out. But I think the power play usage was really strange. I don't think that's gonna work. Going forward. So I mean, I think if you want to experiment with that, I don't hate it, but like I don't think that's something that's really going to be optimal when you get to deeper in the bracket. I just don't think it's going to work. I think it's just going to completely backfire on you. So I didn't like it, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we didn't get to see its full potential. I'm not really sure, but not really optimistic about that so far. But we'll see how it plays out.
It's playing Drip G. You don't know G. You gotta understand. Drip is one of those interesting characters. He reminds me a lot of some other people in the past. You know, not so much from the league, but just in life that I've met. He's a very interesting guy, right? He can play so many different characters in a way and play styles, and he don't know what he can do. I mean, +4 draw. It's an Ed Ziemba play, and it worked, right? So you just don't know. He's one of those interesting rookies. He's more than I would say getting closer to the level he needs to be to maybe eventually make deeper Final Four runs in the future. Maybe T4 or 5 is something we can look into. But he's got a good challenge against Cap. They sort of know each other from way back when. Big region ahead, man. That's a stacked region for sure. Drip Captain, myself, and Cody. Those are some big names in the league for sure. But let's move over to the next region. It's the second player off By Island. Ashley MGR, and for Ashley, it was a little close, 2-1, but admitted to, just taking a little bit easy, playing some games, trying to learn for the next opponent. At the end of the day, I think it was well under control, though. MGR had a lot of ammo issues, showed up a little bit, I guess, lackadaisical early, then tried to correct it. Got a good 2-1 lead, but way too much Ashley off the bye, too much rest. At this point, Jay, you got to look at for Ashley. You said this is a potential Final Four run coming again. MGR had the Nick win, but I think more questions than answers for him. What's your thoughts on that? His
I'm
ceiling
I'm in
being
the same boat with you. I think there's more questions than answers for MGR here. Went up 2-1 early, but Ashley was kind of able to bring it back with a slower pace. These last three games, 11, 7, 10 minutes. Um, I mean, in terms of what we've seen so far this year, a little bit on the longer side, probably above average time. But um, yeah, I mean, I think with Ashley, a lot of people would expect her to have another good run, especially with what her bracket path is. It's interesting opponent she'll have next going forward, but we'll see how it ends up. Again, going back to MGR, I'm not really sure where he's at right now. Power plays kind of better. I think he used it right.
No, he did not. Didn't even
No,
use
he
it.
he didn't even use it. Oh man. Okay. Well, then scratch that. I'm not really sure what's up with MGR here. The only thing I could really take away is I know he's making his own bot with a certain type of Uno on it. So I'm excited to see what that ends up as. But that's the only thing I could really say, and that has nothing to do with the game that was played against Ashley.
No, it was just too much Ashley, man. And you got to look. It's a world champion player. At the end of the day, she knows what to do, knows how to make it happen. How much really to add? I mean, we'll see what she gets now into this next match. And well, gee, for Ard, the questions of round 2 Ard are somewhat put to bed. He was up 3-0 on Peter. And at that point, when you give Ard a lead, I wasn't there for it. I had to look back at the tape because that was the Wednesday. Yeah, it was the Wednesday extravaganza. Just too much interesting light switching from Peter. I think Peter tried something new. I respect it. I did say, you gotta try some things new, but not against Ard. When you light switch that much, not even just against Ard, but against anybody, you're up a creek without a paddle sometimes. And I think he's gonna have to learn. You know what? It won't work against Pat Johnson, but it's not always going to work against the second opponent he plays. And yeah, as it was pretty much Art. I don't got much to add there. Thoughts on Art and his ceiling, and Peter once again, he's in that Super League spot from last year. He's teetering again. I think it's a little bit worse than Yepes though, for sure.
Oh my God, absolutely worse. He's 1-2.
Yeah.
I still don't even know where Anjak is right now because his one win was a game where a lot of people argued he should have actually lost against Pac, but I still don't know where Anjak is. I don't think he played great in this game. That's two tournaments in a row where the losing effort. I just don't think he plays well, and I really don't know where Anjak is at this point because right now I'm not liking what I'm seeing from him. I know he's trying a few different things, but it's not working right now. And I think there's still a bunch of glaring issues with his game plan. With Ard, I think it sucks for Ard because I know a lot of people are trying to give Ard a chance this year after a disappointing last year, but I still don't think there's been that game yet where it's proven that Ard is here to play. But I do think that opportunity could potentially be in this next match against Ashley. But even then, I'm not even sure because there's a bunch of different complications coming up, which might have the matchup be a bit iffy. But yeah, I don't know. I This game just left me with nothing after it. I couldn't get any answers. I had the same questions I had before. I was pretty disappointed with this match. I wouldn't say it was my worst match of the round. I don't think I'm really going to reward one because I can't really fairly say it since I didn't see all of them live. But yeah, I don't know. I just left this one disappointed, to be honest.
I love Peter, man. He is one of those guys I have a lot of respect for. But I'm going to say this much, kind of like I did to Ghost. I think it's his time to wake up a little bit, right? He's going to use the practice cups, and that's where I think he's going to have to learn the tactics. Because I just think, we're going to talk about this at the end of the episode, but you can't be 1 or 2 dimensional. You have to almost be 5, 6 dimensional. It's hard to really put into words how much it takes. But we'll see how it goes for Peter in T3. Art, on the other hand, big win. He's going up against probably his best competition in a year. We'll see. But there's a lot of questions surrounding him, too. Gee, this next match was the first match around, and this was very disappointing for Yoshi. I mean, he even sounded dejected after this. Had the game in his hand 3-2, but never could make the clutch situation work in game 6 and 7. And once again, gee, I'm looking at DJ. I mean, we don't have awards here for whatever, but is he possibly in the consideration for comeback player of the year? I mean, he was nowhere last year. And the fact that he's using this game as a more of a chess style, as he's looking to check the moves each time, understand the thought, using data process. This is DJ Curtis here for the vibes. Another one. He gets another one, and he gets revenge. Remember, Yoshi smoked this guy 4-0. DJ to win 7's impressive, especially since he made mistakes in game 1 and 2. Thoughts on DJ Curtis, man, just taking his win and getting that revenge? And once again, gee, is this the same question as Peter, as Yoshi? When's that clutch moment going to... He hasn't been able to get it done in the clutch. And we talked about his non-clutch wins have been good. But this is a clutch situation. Is there some cracks that we need to look into for sure?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think when it comes to clutch, if we're looking from a broader spectrum, I think there is some optimism for the future. We're recording this, and he did just win the recent Myth tournament, so congratulations to him on that one. Was able to beat Captain in the final on that one, so there's some optimism for clutching it out. But I think with MRE, it's just something different because you got a lot of different aspects to go with the card range and the what's it called, the power play. So. It's tough. It's a tough thing to look at. But I think with Yoshi, he just needs to stay cool and just make sure he knows what he's trying to play and just put more confidence into it. Because I think there's like a bit of iffy confidence when it comes to some of his plays, and I think it kind of shows in these crucial situations. And unfortunately, does come up short here again. But made the round of 32 this time, so it doesn't go out in the round of 64. I think there's things to build off this, and I think there's something you can use from this to go beyond with the season. So I wouldn't count Yoshi out just yet, but I think you're gonna have to see a run coming soon.
He's got to get better, similar to Peter. I think of just getting the confidence. I think practice cups is something he could utilize. I still have confidence he can get there. He can at least get in the Super League bubble combo. But I need to see more in the clutch. And then G for DJ, I mean, incredible. Absolutely incredible. What he's done this year, and the fact that he could turn it around 180 like that, almost a 360 turnaround. It reminds me a little bit of what Lamas was doing last year. Lamas was all about the vibes and whatnot. DJ's put a lot of effort into this game. I think he's starting to get those reaps the rewards of the benefits. He could be someone to watch moving forward for sure. And he's got an interesting opponent because, see, this guy was nowhere T1. We talked about it. I even said, I called him out. I called him out. Oh, buddy, you're way better than losing to 4-1 to Nick and showing that performance in March. And what a big win here. This was all Ghost. There was nothing to say about this win other than it was all Ghost, man. He absolutely destroyed Logan. Nothing to even consider other than the fact that Logan has more stream game problems that a lot of people are questioning. It was all Ghost. It was all easy. I don't know. I really really like Ghost here. I think he's turned it around. He's gonna have an interesting opponent with DJ. That fast draw pay, it works. I just wondered, can it work and sustain the next round? What do you think about this matchup coming up for Ghost and DJ, just as a little bit of a ceiling match? And do you think Logan's got to go back to the drawing board on stream games because nerves are starting to play a big role, and you can see it?
I think Logan needs to just go to the drawing board, period, because it felt like he had no strategy to counter against Ghost here, and I think that's really what resulted in this blowout 4-1 victory. I mean, with Ghost, I think he's definitely brought back what he feels like he can do. I think this is the first thing he's actually done since his Tournament 4 run, where he made his debut in August of last year. I think this is the first time he's doing anything, so I think he needs to try to bring this as far as he can. He's going to have a kind of tough challenge against DJ, who I actually think counters his style pretty well, but we'll see how it goes with both these players. But yeah, again, I think Logan just needs to go to the drawing board at all because I don't know if he's ever really been there in the first place. And just construct some sort of game plan here because was able to get away in the first round, but I mean this second round really exposed some of his flaws here, and I really think he needs to figure out a way to minimize them and be able to get a run here.
We're going to find out. We'll see what the metal armor is for DJ and Ghost coming in. And that'll be in the next round for sure. As DJ once again makes it back to another Sandy 16. So it's Ghost. Actually, Ghost makes his second one too. So battle of the second timers there. All right, gee, this tuna region has been absolutely chaotic, and it once again bites JT. I mean, JT, congratulations, man, on winning his 100th career game, and that was it. He won that 100th career game, and he was nowhere there. And well, gee, we talked about this. We both said it. This was the weakest region. There's no debate about it. This was the weakest region coming in. And now that JT's gone, I just don't know what to think, in my humble opinion, of this win from Stingray. He played no composure, was revealing cards, absolutely chaos, and got it done. Used a self-call, used the G Classic in a way, used the self-call out to get 3 extra cards, and JT didn't know what was going on. Is there more to this JT loss to say, you know what, maybe that first run really was a little bit of lady luck and he needs to go back to the drawing board? Or do you think because it was the 100th game night, right, it was a special night, maybe he was just not 100% focused and it cost him? But what do you think? What do you think, G? What do you think needs to be done for JT moving forward? Big win for Stingray and his outlook.
Yeah, I mean, I think with this one, it just brings back the potential problem with JT of just not having that consistency or maybe being complacent with what he had. He made that Final Four run in March, but might just felt more complacent with that and just goes out in the round of 32 here. I mean, I'm not really sure what to do with JT. You did say he did the quote unquote G Classic, which is funny because I did that in UUL and I nearly caused the entire commission team over there to burn down from that. So,
Jeez.
Yeah, a bit of chaos.
See that.
Bit of chaos caused over there, but yeah, I mean, I don't know where you go with Turner here because I think it really comes down to a mentality issue. He's got to make sure that he's always fighting for something, and I think for Turner, he kind of felt like he was fighting for that 100th win, got it, and it was like, all right, peace, everyone, and just did not show up for the remaining 4 games. So yeah, I don't know. I think Turner really just needs to get a better mentality when it comes to these games. Like if he gets somewhere or he gets something, he needs to make sure that he's still fighting for something. Otherwise, it's gonna just result in a disaster. Stingray, I think a lot of people were not sure how Stingray would perform following the March run, but I mean, makes it to the Sandy 16 here, looking for a further run here. So Stingray is looking for something to go further, and so far. It's been going well for Stingray so far, but again, you mentioned it, like kind of all over the place with both players here. I'm not sure how that's going to do him well when it comes to this next matchup here.
Well, this next matchup, G, is an absolute classic. This was one of the best matchups of the round. It was Caesar, self-dittos. It was a late 10:30 game. You know, Caesar, once again, man, phenomenal element of surprise. Game 1 power play winning. It's the second time he's done that and saved the series. Without that instinctual move, he loses again. Caesar's really got good instincts, man. We've talked about this, I don't know, verbatim, how he needs to get one big run and really set himself as a top dog. For H, I don't think this was a bad run. Losing to Caesar is not something to hold your head about. You beat a guy in the Elite Eight in Avion in the first round. It's not a bad run to hold your head about. I think it's a good job for H despite the loss. Good solid P17, best of the rest. But Jay Caesar, man, this is his time. Geez, this is finally his time. He runs the region now with JT gone. Do you think this is his time to make the run? And thoughts on this match and what we're looking forward coming in here?
I mean, dude, interesting thing with Caesar. Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of people were thinking this is going to be a good matchup. Unfortunately, again, H comes out on the losing end of it, but still plays a great game. I think that's just it's a difficult situation. H just got to find a way to get the win in those very close games. But Caesar kind of on a rebuild here after, I would say, a very disappointing March. Definitely should have made it further. Makes it to Sandy 16 here. Just have an interesting matchup going into the next round, but. Again, I think Caesar is trying to show that he's not someone to be messed with. Trying to rebuild some of that credibility that he may have lost a little bit from last tournament, but bringing it back here. Has, I would say, a pretty good bracket to make the Final Four. So I would tout him as my current favorite right now. Probably not by a lot, but I think Caesar's in a good spot right now. And we'll see how it goes with that. But yeah, that's generally my takeaway from this matchup. I thought it was a good matchup. Nothing beyond that. Caesar rebuilding some credibility, and I think H has just got to figure out a way how to win these really close games. Just seems like he comes so close, but just can't quite close it out.
Yeah, we'll see. It's the same story for Caesar. He just needs to run. He's got a shot. This next match, oh man, these next two are kind of brutal. Congratulations to Peter, man. We don't really know what's happening with him, right? We really don't know. We're gonna be as blunt as we don't really know what's happening to him after this tournament. And I told him, enjoy the ride, man, and enjoy, because what you're doing right now, obviously getting an Ellison win is kind of expected, but the Varigo win he did was impressive. This was just a classic Tapir masterclass. Got Ellison basically into a game of I don't like Draw City, and he isolated them multiple. You streamed this game.
Yep.
This was just, there's not much to talk. It was similar to KT Zach. This is just Tapir doing the job. Ellison got outclassed. Anything to add? That was pretty much all I had.
Ellison was not there this entire game. Like, he was just gone the moment it went to a draw city, any sort of draw. He just couldn't get around that style, and it really showed. Obviously a disappointing loss, but Ellison does get a win here, so something to build off of. But I mean, Tapir's having a great showcase tournament so far. Looking to make it further, and again, you don't really know what's going to happen following this with some D1 players dropping out, but we'll see how it goes. But I mean, for right now, as I'm here doing a really great job, is in the Sandy 16 in his first D1 appearance.
Yeah, nothing really to add here. And unfortunately, Jay, the next game was just as bad. This was just Christian. I don't know where Lane was even at. I mean, he was revealing cards mid-game. Terrible composure. Absolutely fair play to Lane for beating Clay. I still don't even know what happened. I look back at the tape. I still don't even know what happened in that game that made me think, why did Clay lose? But he just got outclassed here, G. There's nothing to add here. This was just Christian Tago running the rampant all day. Congrats to Tago, and it's going to be Tago Tapir. Is there anything to even look as a positive sign for Lane? I didn't see anything. Because all I saw was classic Lane, and it just makes you wonder, where was Clay's head at come round one, for sure. What's your thoughts on this one? It was pretty much Tago.
Nothing. I really have nothing to take away from this one. I mean, I think Tago's just revitalizing himself after a very bad March. Lane, I don't even know where he was at this point. I mean, I don't know what you take from the first round win, and I don't know what you take from this, because it was just nothing, absolutely nothing. Didn't bring anything to the table, and I think it's a disappointing thing, because you want to build off that win, and I think Lane just did nothing with it. So I don't know what happens beyond this point, but I think Lane really needs to take a step back and look at what his game plan is going into these games.
Yeah, we're going to find out what Lane will do for T3. And, G, we're going to go right into this more of a serious conversation now. We're going to go into Tom Sanford. I'm going to let you take the lead on this one, because I know you have some things to say about this. Go for it.
Okay, yeah. I think this was the game I looked at probably the closest out of all the games I had to rewatch. Definitely one of the more interesting games to watch throughout. Had a bit of a back and forth going on to start off, but then Chama kind of took a bit of control in game 4 beyond, and really just closed it out there. 41-minute series. Chama is going to win it 4-2, but I think one of the more interesting things I have to point out is some of the things that happened post game, especially definitely a bit of chaos happened afterwards. Did get to the point where Sanford started posting his hands for the games he had. Was really upset with the bot. Just not the best situation you want. But I'm just gonna read off some of these hands, and I'm just gonna go with what I think here. So, all right. So for game 6, 13 cards. We had red 4, yellow 7, green 8, yellow 3, yellow +2, blue reverse, green 6, green reverse, blue 0, green 7, green 9, green 5, red 5. Not necessarily a great hand, but I think it's these next two that I'm a little bit questionable about, and I think that brings to my main point. So we had a 14 card and the 15 card. The so 14 card and 15 cards, so games 4 and 3 respectively. Blue 1, blue 0, wild, blue 6, wild +4, green 8, red 2, red 1, green 3, red 3, yellow +2, blue skip, green +2, blue 2. And then for the 15 card, we had green +2, blue 4, blue 6, red 6, green 4, 2 wilds, yellow 8, red 9, red 2, green 6, yellow reverse, green 2, blue 1, green 9. And I'll also throw in the 5 card start here once I find it. I don't know where it went. Where'd the 5 card start go? There it is. Red +2, green 4, blue reverse, red skip, blue 2. Okay, so here's the thing. Obviously, with Uno, there's an aspect of luck, and sometimes you get bad card luck, and that's not necessarily something that isn't an invalid excuse. We've seen it before. I would argue the Carson Myth game before was unfortunate card luck there. I think there's other games where it's other specific individual games where it's like card luck, where it's like someone plays,
Sure.
someone plays a card, and then suddenly it's like a run to the finish off turn one, which is like, what else can you do there? Actually had that happen during the first ever Blitz tournament I entered for Myths. I played a card, and then Tago just ran to the finish on 7 cards. So, yeah, that was a very fun experience. But my question is, when do we draw the line? Because I think we're getting to the point where this excuse of card luck is starting to lose its meaning, and it's just a cop out when it comes to a game loss. And I'm not trying to single out Stanford here. I think there's a lot of players in this round who are really talking about the card luck. I specifically remember off the top of my head, jumping to the match results, I specifically remember a tiny bit of discussion from KT. I think H had a little bit of it also. I definitely recall Turner with a little bit, Yepes as well. I mean, there's a lot of people, Ellison especially. I think there's a lot of people who are using this card look, and I think at some point it starts losing the value, and it's really just, you can't be losing that as a crutch on a loss. And I read out the specific cards that were posted after the game because I don't actually think all those cards were necessarily terrible. I think there's stuff you can do with it. I feel like for most of them, they're situational at worst. Like I think out of all the 4 card starts I read, I think the only one that's generally not good is 13 cards. I think there's at least something you can do with the remaining ones, assuming your opponent doesn't have like a completely unbelievable hand where it's like 3+4s or something like that. But I just have to ask KT, where do we draw the line when it comes to I lost on card luck, or it's just when it becomes a valid reason for losing, or when it becomes just a crutch that tries to minimize the loss when it's not really a good methodology to do so. It's kind of like discrediting the opponent's win in a way. That's the general takeaway that I'm getting from this.
Well, at the end of the day, Chama came in with a split ammo control, and you have to respect that. And we're going to talk about a little bit about Operation Film, which is kind of a conversation that it seems to be also taking over the league, but that's a different combo. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I'm a big believer, G. When I lost the goal, remember when I lost the goal?
I do.
I said it was on me. I said, look, that's on me. Now, I wish I could have got reminded about power play. That was a little bit of a host. I mean, and the guy who streamed is like, no, okay, I forgot myself. That's my fault. I should have realized that, right? But I should have also told him. Unless it's a 1 or 2 turn win, goal out beat me 5-4. He outplayed me, right? I was up 4-1. I got too complacent. At a certain point, G, it isn't about card luck. It's about complacency. Underestimating one game can be the difference. If you win on, listen, if you have 4+4, the JT art is a good example. I mean, JT said twice, quote unquote, yeah, 3 of the 4 games, I had 3+4s. I have 4+4s. I had 2+4s and 3+2s on 8 cards. That's crazy. That's kind of crazy. And I was on Ard's side because JT showed me his hands. That's insane. But
Yeah.
unless it's some insane hands like that where you're getting 4+4s in a deck, or you're getting 1 or 2 turn, I don't believe in it. Right? At the end of the day, I'm gonna get. Look, when I had that Zach game, I wasn't getting the cards, but Zach gave me the ammo. Right? Is that my fault? No. Is that Zach's fault? No. It's neither's fault. It's a case of he was just trying to do something, right? He was just trying to do something, and it just didn't work, right? And I don't think we need to go back into this discussion of, oh well, it's card luck. I don't mind card luck on a 1 or 2. If you get a 1 or 2 turn win and you want to say it, fine. That's understandable. But I mean, I know Eli. He had a lot of that going on. I know some other people said that. I think there's some merit to it, but you can't just put all your eggs in one basket. At some point, it comes down to taking accountability, Jim. You know this. I mean, I take accountability out of the wazoo. Win or lose, I take it out of the wazoo. So I want to see more accountability from just the players, I think, is what I'm looking at. You look at what's been going on in the league. I like to focus on the positive more than negative. I do like what's going on with the film study, though. We'll talk more about that. I think that's evolving the game a little bit. But let's face it, G. Sanford lost, right? He's going to have to rebuild a little bit. Congrats to Chomik. That's the bottom line here. He won 4-2. We can't discredit that. He beat he beat the most experienced guy here, G. That's hard to do in anything. It's very hard to beat the most experienced. Even though I technically am now because I'm moving on. He's the most experienced guy here who hasn't won a tournament yet. That's DH11. If you don't ask me, that's DH11 right there. You know what that reference is. That's our DH. I mean, that's
not really, no. But
you know Denny Ham. He hasn't won a championship yet. Sanford's
that did not process through my mind. Yeah,
yeah,
I understand that.
Sanford's our Denny Hamlin. He's never won anything yet. He's the most experienced guy. Hasn't won. I think Chomik deserves the win. I think this will be the talking point throughout the season. And let's get right into it, G. I mean, the next guy we're talking about mentioned it, right? I mean, Rogers versus Dark. I mean, you want to take the lead on this one too, because you were here. I wasn't here for this game.
Oh my God. Before we get to this, I'm just gonna say this also. I think my last top point on this card luck discussion. I'm definitely not the most innocent on this either. I in the past on record have talked about card luck in the past, but I don't think it's something I should be doing going forward unless it's like ridiculous hands where it's like the opponent wins on one turn, that's just card luck. That there's no other way to look at it. But I think the players as a whole need to start trying to use that excuse less. And I mean, KT said it, like, just accountability. Sometimes maybe you play a really great game, you still lose, and you know what? So be it. But there's definitely got to be things that you look at differently to not just chalk the game up to card luck, because I just don't think that's a very healthy mindset to look at things and try to make things better for you when it comes to the next tournament or going forward. So that's my last discussion on it. Now we're going to move on to Dark Rogers, and my first question is, where the hell was Austin Rogers? Because this was not the Rogers that I played in round one. And that kind of ticks me off a little bit, because I thought Rogers played some of the best Uno he's played in this league in the first round, was able to get that 4-3 win. Here, he did absolutely nothing that he did in the first round, and it showed on the scorecard. A brutal 4-1 loss. Rogers was all over the place, was making a bunch of misplays. I have zero clue what was going on with this one. I feel like what's happened with Rogers here is, if he doesn't have something go his way, it kind of derails his whole game plan entirely, and I think that's what we saw here early on. I don't think Dark even had to go to his usual style with the chess, because these games were not actually as long as you would think for Dark standards. I mean, let me pull this back up.
There was one 26-minute game, someone told me. That might have been the one. That might have been it.
That might have been, yeah.
That was the only one, though.
26 minutes. Everything else was under 11 minutes, so not usually what you see from Dark. Series didn't even hit an hour, so that's a rarity for Dark. So didn't even really have to go into his bag of tricks with these longer games for the most part. But I'm just appalled from this Rogers performance. Easily the biggest 180 from round one to round two, in my opinion. A complete disappointment, an objective failure, in my opinion. I'm just shocked by this, and I really want to know what was going on with Rogers, because he showed in the first round he could play good Uno, but this was just nothing. I'm appalled from this. I don't have any words. I haven't even mentioned much about Dark. Congrats to Dark, gets to the Sandy 16. I'm just shocked by this Rogers performance, because I was expecting so much more, and I got pretty much none of it. So we'll jump to KT here. Let him speak on this. Your thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I wasn't here for Remember G because that was my crazy Wednesday, and I had to go to bed early. But I looked at the
Did you at
tape
least
and
did you at least see the tape? That's what I was
a
asking.
little bit, but not much. There was a lot of things. Roger, I think he just panicked too much, and the problem with Dark is, there's a thing I like to call it's called apprehension theory. That's the problem. You can't be apprehensive anymore. Apprehension worked last year because we didn't know what was going on half the time. He's too apprehensive. And that's the problem with, I think, AR. He's got to learn apprehension is going to cost you in this league. You can't be wishy-washy. You got to make clean-cut moves. Look, Dark's a chess master. He's a grand chess master. I originally said when I woke up that morning, I'm like, man, that's just classic Dark. But then I looked back and I'm like, there's only 2 or 3 games or 2 games with 26 men, the one that won 11. That was classic Dark. The rest were just unfortunate. I know AR had some tough card luck, but at some point, where's the line, right? There needs to be some accountability. I think he learns from it. He didn't leave the server, which is a big bonus.
True.
That's a bonus. I think his head's in the right spot. Got to give him time. And maybe he just got caught up with the pace management. But, it's not my worst performance in the round, believe it or not, because the next match is, and it didn't even happen. And
Oh, no.
and it's not so much from a performance standpoint, but let's get into that. Look, Monkey won on DQ, okay? Understandable. I want to say this for both players. Monkey, it's Wednesday night. We allowed you to watch your show. Buddy, we have 2 extra hours. Short is trying to help stream the game, and you just call it off. M, where the hell were you at? I'm sorry, G, but M just beat Varigol last tournament. This has nothing to do with performance, and from an accountability I'm just disappointed. What are we doing here? Wasting people's time? Is that how we met? It's going to be another conversation. I've got to go into M's DM and say, look, what went wrong? We couldn't even schedule this game. I understand Monkey is not the easiest guy to schedule. Congrats to him on winning the veteran class. Congrats to Ghost on winning the sophomore class. But because of this, I don't even know what to think about Monkey. I don't really know. You had a 4 over Brando, and now it's coming in with absolutely no data in a round 2. This region's a mess. I don't know what to say. Is there? I mean, I don't think we even need to discuss anything here. We're just going to wait for Monkey's preview when he plays the next guy. I'm just disappointed in both. More so, Monkey, I think, could be a little bit more accountable on certain avenues. He's going to have time to prove himself in the next round, so that gives me hope that he will. But it only pissed me off because Short's trying to help build this out. I think he needs to understand that too. You can't just waste Short's time too. He's a good guy. So that's my only problem with that. That's it.
I think this could go into a general discussion about the idea of other people's time and being able to respect it, especially with something like this. This doesn't even necessarily go for just this. This could just go for life in general. And
Sure.
I'm not going to call out any specific names, but I think this has been a problem in D2 as well with some matches so far this year. So I think for anyone listening, I think it could be a great lesson to use this league in the way you schedule as a way to practice, like, because I think that's a social life skill. I think being able to respect
Sure.
other people's times, even if it's someone you absolutely do not like, but you have to work with them. I think it's something that you could learn very easily from this league with just simply scheduling and showing up on time. Um, and that's something that you have to go with life, because when you have work, you got to show up to work on time. When you have classes, you got to show up on time. Obviously, if like you're younger, your parents drive you to school, so that's a little different. But you got to make sure you show up to your stuff on time, and it's a thing that I think some people need to learn, and I think this league is a great place to be able to fully learn and grasp it, because like it's such a simple concept, but it's not as
Right.
simple as it sounds. There's a lot that goes into it mentally and also just in terms of habits. So I think this is a good lesson for many people, to be able to learn this idea of being able to respect other people's time, because they've carved a time out of their day to do this thing with you, to do battle, or in the case of a streamer with Short, to stream your game. And if you don't show up, you're just wasting their time, and that's just not cool to them, because they could be using that time to do something else that could be productive. Like they could be learning a new hobby, or they can be doing schoolwork,
Studying or whatever.
studying, something like that. So
Yeah.
I think it's important to be able to know that going forward. So I hope I'm not going to say any specific names because I don't want to do that, but I think it's a good lesson for some people to be able to learn the idea to respect people's time, make sure you're scheduling during times where it's not going to be chaotic and you're not even guaranteed to be there. So I think that's a good lesson going forward, and I hope to see more of that when we go down later in the line throughout the season.
At the end of the day, I'll say this much. Right, at the end, this is a league, right? But it's more than a league; it's family, right? At a certain point, you have to understand when you move on from this league, whether you retire or you're going to go on to better things in life. That's the whole point. There's a reason why we do press conferences. There's a reason why we do stream games. There's a reason why we do post game quotes. There's a reason why we schedule at professionals. This is a professional scheduling system. I learned at 13 years old. I learned this 12 years ago. Right, I had to learn this the hard way, and I loved it. It reminded me of like a punctual system that I could keep my day going and still work around the other person. It's a great system, but the way it gets folded is if you don't commit, right? And it works both ways. I'm not going to say, okay, we're going to we gave her multiple chances. The first time she had some problems, it was on us, right? If the game runs long or something out of understandable, right? If it's on us, it's on us. We'll admit it. The stream running long or something. But we're working on things, right? We're always going to work on improving the system. The key is you just have to show up and commit. That's it. You don't have to take 5 hours out of your day. Just take the 2 hours, whatever you got to do, and just set aside time on a notable day, whatever you feel is comfortable. I mean, I do a lot for this, right? I always look at people's trends. I know people. I'm trying to learn people's schedules in D1. Eventually, my goal is to learn everyone's schedule in the league, and we have conversations just about life. That's what I want to do eventually, G. Because eventually, yeah, we're playing this game, right? But I would like to know what people got going on, right? Not so much personal. I don't believe in that, but just understand people's tendencies and what do you guys want this? Do you want that? Do you prefer this type of schedule? Is there anything I can do to help? Stuff like that. I'm always interested in, and of course, you know how you know me. I mean, there's times where I've had to cancel stuff, right, just for to make this work. Now, is it wrong? A little bit. Well, come on, you got to focus on yourself. But I have a really great group of people where I'm like, all right, end of the year, I'll make up for it, or at some point, off day, I'll make up for it. But I'm looking forward to seeing what M can do next tournament. I'm sure she'll get back on her horse, and remember, she did beat Varigold for sure.
I hope so.
We'll leave it at that. Now, this last game we just talked. This is the same thing with the car. I mean, Eli said it. Tough luck. I'm partially buying. I will say that was the one game I do believe Eli had a point. I mean, Brock was doing 7 cards, 6 cards. He was winning on games with 2 turns. Eli's got a point, but it goes back to the question of Eli's gone as a 2 seed. This was an opportunity. He just gave the cards to Monkey, and in my opinion, G, with Monkey not doing a second round, it's almost Dark's region to control because we really don't know Monkey. Brock a big win though, gets back on the round 2 schneid. What's your thoughts on Eli moving forward, and your thoughts on Brock kind of going off that round 2 Curtis loss and bouncing back? You're being high on Brock from the all season too with the rookie battles for sure.
Yeah, I have been high on Brock. I picked him to win the rookie class. I picked him to make Super League, I believe. So I think this is a lot of what I was expecting from Brock to begin with. Again, you mentioned it. Also, some games he was getting some really absurd hands, so that definitely helped with it. And it's weird to say this. I think again, this is like a weird missed opportunity for Eli because he's still looking for that win that ends up being like super relevant when it comes to the now. Like he beat Chomik last tournament, but that was not a
Sure.
win. That was the now. Maybe Chomik will end up becoming a better win as the season goes along. But I think he needs that win where it's like you walk away from that and you're like, wow, that's a big win. I don't think he's
Right.
gotten that yet. So he's looking. He needs to look for that. And I don't think this game was where he would be able to find that, but yeah, it's a tough place to be in. So we'll see how it goes. I think Eli's in a good spot right now. He should be in the Super League field at the moment, but obviously you gotta stay in there until the end of Tournament 5. So got a bit of a ways to go to make it there. So we'll see how it goes the rest of the season. But I think it's been a relatively good start for Eli. This might be a bit of a hurdle, but I have belief that he can come back from this and keep up the run he's been trying to have.
Yeah, he'll bounce back. He knows he's in a better spot. 4-2 coming in to T3 versus whatever he was last year. I think last year he was.
I think he was 3-4 with a DQ win.
Yeah, three. No, not 3 and 4. Entering T3, he probably was like 3-2 or something. Maybe. Yeah, I think maybe 2-2. It was 2-2. I know he lost to
No, two,
Fitzy, and he lost.
two, and
And he
no, he
lost.
was no, he was two and so wait, yeah, no, no,
He did
he was 3-2 with a DQ when going into tournament three last year.
really,
So
really 2-2. Yeah, because of the
yeah.
DQ. So really, he's in a much better spot. I think he's in a good spot just to keep controlling what he can control. All right, G, you're going to get the next two topics. We're going to start with D2 with G. Kind of talk us through a little bit of like a synopsis of what's going on with the airwaves.
Oh boy, we're going to be doing a lot of talking here. So, yeah. So as we mentioned two shows ago, we talked about the April Airwave, our second tournament for D2, and we've had them actually go underway with D2. We also have a bit of league history, which we'll get to in a second, but
Yes.
we'll jump into. We had some play-ins. We actually have a few bits of history. We had some play-ins. We had some people be all over the place, but we had our first ever all Asian match. So we had guest first Taslim, which was Singapore versus India. So when it came to time zones for them, it was easy scheduling. For us, it was a little difficult, but worth the effort. We love the international. We love the international diversity we've had, especially in D2. With D2, I've seen a lot of it. So a lot of new. A lot of new countries being represented in this league, and that's something that we love to see because we keep going further and further with the idea of winning this league, being a world champion. So, the more people you get from different countries, the more that really feels like it. So we love to see that. Had our first all Asian match, and then we go into the first round of action. We saw a lot of game fives in the first round. Stuff's about the rounds about to wrap up here, so won't go into everything. But we mentioned it. Tapir technically played two games or two matches in one day. Technically becomes the first player to win two matches in one day, but that's not really something that's feasible in the future. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen again. But um, beats Rune in a very close 3-2. Was thrown on the ropes late, but was able to hang on. That was a bit of a scare for Tapir as they ended up winning in a 4-0 later on in the night. So bit of a scare for D2, and we've seen some people who are really able to bring it in at D2. So going to be interesting to see how that battle goes. But um, another thing I want to mention also, we've had a lot of new debutants, some from UUL, some from outside. Myhale and Gon are two people I like to mention in specific, as well as Sam, but we'll get to him in a second. Two UUL players who really brought a lot to the table, both won in sweeps against players who played in the first tournament of D2. So really off to great starts. I expect a lot out of them, and they're definitely contenders to watch out for going forward. We'll jump to the stream game we had, and then we'll jump to the history. We had our first stream game of our updated stream package for D2 with Alex and Sam, and this was a relatively good stream match. I'd say one of the better ones we've had overall in the league. Sam was able to get the win 3-1 here, but a lot of good back and forth action. Sam, with a quite the fiery personality, definitely could go up against some of the trash talkers that we have in D1, like Yepes. So if Sam does eventually move up into D1, I'd be very interested to see how that goes with any of the potential interactions we have there. But that's talking about something that might happen instead of what will happen. But Alex, of course, doesn't get quite the result he wanted, but still put up a very solid showing despite losing 3-1. Definitely also a lot of things that could be changing going into tournament three. Like, I think there's a lot of questions with power play because in D2 we don't have power play till the Elite Eight. That might actually change where it comes out earlier. A lot of people have been more invested into the power play, so I think it's good change that we might consider in the future. But let's jump to the main history moment, the history moment here. Number one seed of the Breezy Byways region, background character versus number 8 Surge. This was a back and forth match from the start, and I think a lot of the times background was fighting from behind, and we saw this in game number 3 where they went down 34 cards. late in the game, was able to make a 34 card comeback to win that game in 16 minutes. New league record for largest card comeback of any match we've ever had. So congratulations to the background. D2 player making history, made the finale in the February flurry, and is making some more history here with the 34 card comeback, not just in D2, but in the entire league. So great stuff in the background there. I very much am excited to see what he does there. Very real possibility we might see him on stream again very soon. So we'll be excited to see how that goes. But that's going to do it for my little D2 recap. KT, if you got anything to say, I know you didn't see a ton of it, but maybe have one or two things to talk about. I know you did see the tape for the stream game. If you want to make a quick comment about that.
No, I get two things. See, you know me as a humble guy, right? And I was the first guy to congratulate background on winning the 34. I said, and I texted you too. What was my comment, right? What's the old saying? Records are meant to be broken, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I'm kind of glad I did because that pack one that
That
wasn't a real
was a little
record.
goof. That was a little goofy.
Yeah, pack had
Background
and
background got the 34 cards off of plus 30, 5+2s in a row. I don't think we've
yeah,
ever seen that.
that's no ammo control, that's for sure. Look, regarding Sam and Al, I've been a big Alex hype train guy, and I always will be. But I was pissed at him, man. Not so much with the gameplay, right? I said, look, man, why are you scheduling a game on vacation? You're making G go out to midnight, and it's the same thing, right? I told him we got to get better with that. We got to get better. We got to be more accountable. And he said, yes, sir, boss. Right. So I hope he does be more accountable. For Sam, well, he's a good kid, man. I think he could. He's got a little bit of crazy cracked out KT. I see a little bit in him, but remember the old adage with me, G, and you know this too. If you show me respect, there's none of that. What you're gonna see is, unless you're ratting, I don't really do
Yep.
anything stupid. You got to show me respect. You show me respect, I'll show you right back. You don't, I'm gonna play into it. But I think he's someone that's good for the league. It's good character. I'm looking forward to seeing what Tapir can do, man. I mean, making history. We're never going to see that ever, I don't think, because it's very rare to play two games on the same day. It was perfect time in the perfect storm. Congrats to him. I know he's our boss and all that, and UUL, but great dude. I think I'm just so proud of him, man. I mean, when I first met him, he was just not the same player. I feel like, and then once we got in there and just kind of taught him how to play, and just from a leadership aspect, man, I felt really good about him. He's a good kid. Well, not even a kid. What the hell am I saying? He's a good man, good young man, and I expect him to grow into a force as he continues. And I don't see any reason why by 2025 he's not with us in D1 playing. He's ready. But that's all I got, G. And let's move on to topics. I gave like a little 5-minute thing with Sam. We're only going to do this for new people, right? Or come on the show, or G, because you never had a chance. I mean, what's the state of the sport, G? In just 5 minutes, where do you look at this sport compared to where it was last year? I know we always talk about what to improve, graphics, stream, all that. Where do you see the sport? I'll talk a little bit about the film study after you speak, but I want to hear just from the G standpoint. Take the player out. Go back to commission member hats on here. Where do you see it? Are we trending in the right direction? What are you thinking?
I mean, again, a lot of talking I'm doing in these next few minutes, but I think with this league, I think we've grown exponentially. I think right now we're in a weird spot where we're kind of not growing as big as we did last year, but I think it's fine with the amount of players we have. We're at just about 100, so really good stuff. I think it's great because we also have a lot of streams going on. So we have a lot of people on the YouTube side of things who can stumble across the video, see the stream going on, watch the game, see that there's a little community going on with Uno. A lot of people like Uno itself. Maybe competitive Uno is not the thing for everyone, and there's definitely some things that go into it. Like I think the closest thing you can compare 1v1 Uno to is like poker. That's
Right.
always been what I've been thinking. There's definitely some aspects of luck, but there's a lot of long-term gameplay skill you have with it. So I'm curious to see how that goes, how the streaming ends up. I think with a lot more streams, you get to see a lot more personalities from the players. Obviously, some players may not be as good on a stream, but I think over time people will learn to calm those nerves and be more locked in when it comes to being on stream. But I think I'd also like to include some of the other leagues that we've seen over the course of the last few months. I would say different partnerships we've had. Of course, we have the Myths League, which came from the MRE. inspired from the MRE league. So that goes on, has done a few different things that have been interesting things we've considered going on. Again, one of the biggest examples is the double elimination, which will be used for the D2 championship to see how that works out. But it's been good to see that has I would say a different player pool, but definitely a player pool that's more interested in seeing the game of Uno itself. So it's kind of nice to see that. And then we also have UUL, which is a league that's been exists for a while, but a league that we just partnered with before. I think with them, they've been going at it for a while, and I think they got a great system going on with the teams and brings a different aspect to it. Kind of makes it like kind of like a football game where it's like kind of like a team effort. You got the different boards, you got the different match days between the teams, you got the draft. I know you were locker room, of course. Yeah, you got the locker room. I know you were a little disappointed. There's not really dynasty, so kind of most of the things reset from season to season, but. You kind of got that little bond you got going on from season to season, and definitely brings a different vibe to a Uno league. So I think with the way it's going right now, and there's probably more Uno leagues out there that we don't really know about right now, and that's not because they're not like what's it called? It's not because that they're small or anything like that. Just haven't really made that bridge yet. So I think when it comes to that, and I also think this is something I thought about. Maybe someday we have this Wildcard podcast expand to just Uno in general, and we cover multiple different topics, not specifically just MRE. I think it would be interesting to give some light to some of these leagues like UUL. Talk about they got Ultra Uno going on right now, which is kind of like the Super Bowl. So they got Ultra Uno going on right now. But there could be a discussion about that as a topic. But I think that'd be interesting to bring onto the podcast at some point, make it a more general base of competitive Uno itself, kind of have like a whole big old family of Uno leagues and whatnot. I think that'd be really great to see and something that could be covered. Could have a lot more guests come on from episode to episode. So I think that'd be something that'd be really cool to see in the future. But right now, still trying to make sure we get this podcast established. So we've been sticking with MRE right now. I think MRE's had great growth, and I think that's been the main focus right now. But once we get that stable spot that we want, which I think will happen later this year, I think we could really look at trying to give some more love to some of the other leagues, try to expand this podcast out more, and also just try to do some more collaborations in the future. So I think with the whole idea, the general state of competitive Uno in general on Discord, and also just with the MRE League, I think we're in a good spot right now on the rise. Obviously, of course, nothing's perfect. You always have issues rise up, but I think with the commission team we have, I think we've been doing a great job, and especially with the addition of Not Short, we're just making the production even better. So I'm loving where we're at right now, and I'm hoping that we can make it even better from day to day.
Yeah, man. I don't have anything else to add. I think it's perfectly. I mean, we're gonna try to get some more player podcasts, as I like to call it, with players coming on the show. Maybe when they win tournaments, if they want.
Yeah, I mean, we could have had the winner of March come on as a guest, but a specific KT had to win that tournament. No guest there.
Let's not beat around the bush. I haven't won one yet, but look, at the end of the day, regardless, though, I know Cody's been talking about one day maybe getting on. He definitely deserves a spot. At least give his unique perspective on the game. There's a lot of things we can do with it. It's still early. I don't expect this thing to take off really with the pod just yet on the guests until we get to summer. But there's a lot of ideas. I don't have a media package built out yet. That'll be done next. Remember, we were going to do it this year, but unfortunately, some things came up that we needed to take care of that were way more important, such as establishing D2, the whole incident. And the last thing I'll say, G, is film study. I mean, this has been the topic that's almost taking over the league now, more than the card luck, because that's just whatever. The film study is really impressive, G. We have a film doc we're going to present at the end of the T2, and it's crazy, man. The film study has taken over the sport. It's great because I've always believed that a proper player knows how to do adjustments on film, and I think we're gonna like the way it looks come T3-4. I think we're still gonna get parity, but as film study becomes more prominent, you just start to wonder who's going to take off, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the summer holds, and it's going to be a good one, man. Summer starts really in June, and that's really going to be T4 this year. That's how fast we're really on pace. We could slow the pace down if we want a little bit, too, and who knows, maybe we will. But regardless, yeah, it's been good. I have nothing but respect for everyone that's putting in the work. All right, G, it's that time of the day. We're back with the predictions now for Sandy 16. Let's
Wonderful.
start right off the top, my friend. Into the shark region we go. We dive into the shark-infested waters, and you have pop out a KT and Lamas. I mean, this has been a hype matchup. I can't make a prediction. All I say to Cody, if you're listening, we're going to have a good time, buddy. I have nothing but respect. I mean, this guy is an absolute legend. Respect will probably always remain the same. But once we're on the table, I know you're ready to take care of me. I'm trying to take care of you. That's the way it should be. Nose to the grindstone. It's the 1 versus the 48, two legendary numbers, even though I had to trade in the 7 for the 1. It should be a fun one. I can't make a prediction. I expect a good game. So, G, it's all you here. What's your prediction on KT Lamas?
Oh man, why do we have to start with the hard one to start out? This is probably the hardest prediction I have to make out of all these matches. Man, this is a really tough matchup. I think this is a really, really good draw for Lamas here, with all the possible opponents he could have got here. And I think KT riding that momentum from March, still going strong with it, especially with the Bile Island and the dominant 4-0 victory. I mean, this is a tough one to call. I think this is the hardest matchup to call out of the 8 we have in this Sandy 16, so I'm not really sure where we go from here. But if I had to choose someone, I mean, I'm just thinking about with all the factors. I think this goes 9 no matter what way you look at it. But I think Lamas needs it more, and I do think that that's going to be what ends up winning out in the end. I think Lamas wins this 5-4, but again, I could see this going either way. I think this is one of the closest matchups we have in this round. I think that's a fair argument to make. If I know you're in that match, but I think you can agree that's a pretty fair argument to make.
Well, this is what it would be if me and Fitzwater would ever play, because Lamas and I have the same exact. In my opinion, yes, because Lamas has played so many times with me, and Fitzy's the same way. We played so many times in the past. He knows my every move. I know his every move. It's the same thing. It's the same principle. It goes 9. The only thing I'll say is if it goes 9, it's going to depend who saves their power play. Because remember, Cody does use it. Last year he didn't, but he's using it for sure, and that'll be an interesting one to call. I'm not making no prediction. The computer went with myself, but that's irrelevant. All I say is I wish Cody the best. We're hell friends, but we're gonna put on a show for the fans. Well, Jeff, if you thought that was the tough, I thought this next one's hard to predict. This one was tough for me. Drip and Captain. I gotta go with Drip because that's what the CPU says. Remember, that's how it works. But the reason I can justify Drip is I just don't know what Drip's gonna do anymore. I mean, he has such unique style to the game. It's almost like a Drip flare. The Drip drop flare is for real. I think Captain's gonna show up and ultimately take this 9 as well. But I think Drip's going to have something special cooked up in that game 9 that no one saw coming. He's the element of surprise, truly the periodic table, man. Nothing but respect for Drip. And I think he gets this one done. It's going to come down to a little bit of more Drip flair to get it done. It will not be the classic just Drip to the finish. He'll get a flare. Cap's really hot, but I think it ends right here, but not by much. I'll go Drip 5-4. This was the hardest one to predict for me, honest to God. What about you, G?
I don't agree actually. I think when it comes to this, it's a battle of two rookies that a lot of people are optimistic for. But I think there's a one glaring thing that comes to this matchup, and I think it's the difference in playstyle. We have not seen Drip with these with a lot of these low card starts here. It's not something that you consistently see out of the Drip, and that's something Captain loves to do. And I think with that, it's kind of a weird situation because I think Drip likes to play more similar style to you, where he goes a little longer. Captain just wants to get through this game really quickly, and he goes to the low card start. So I'm not really sure how he's gonna deal with that. I went with Captain 5-3. I think Captain has a really unique style where it just ends up working. He's able to make it work. It's a bit risky, but with these longer series, he makes it work better, and especially someone who definitely can play the cards better, especially when he has some fortunes go his way. Most of the time when you see these 5-6 card starts out of Captain, he's not really getting anything that's absolutely atrocious here, so he's able to make it work. So I actually have Captain winning 5-3 here. I think Drip definitely takes this from this game and uses it going further into T3. I think Drip does have a run deep. I don't know if you'd argue this is it, but if we want to go deep, I think he does have an Elite 8 run at some point this season, but I don't think this is the tournament where it's going to happen.
Yeah, Drip will have his time. Cap will have his time. It should be a good, evenly matched game. They both know each other from the past. It'll come down to sometimes those low tides versus high tide starts for sure. Well, gee, I mean, I made a prediction in this podcast that R would make the Final Four, but I'm not sticking with it because there's a lot of things Ard had to deal with this past week. I don't know where his mindset's at, and I have to go with the computer anyway. I think Ashley wins this one 5-3. I think Ard, if he didn't have the issues, believe it or not, I think he could have pulled off a 5-4 up win. But
I don't know about that, but go on.
I could have saw it, but it's just I think it's just too much Ashley here. And I think Ard. What I'm more looking for Ard, does he stay humble? Right? Does he remain humble in defeat? Does he not get pouty about if he does end up losing? I want to see his mindset more and what his composure. Because if he plays Ashley tough, G, even if he loses 5-3 or 4, and it's really competitive, this might be a new leap. I mean, it's not going to be a leap to say he's going to make Final Fours, but 3-2 compared to where he was last year, it's a positive step. And even if he pulls the upset off, fair play to him, right? You beat probably the second best player as of right now in the league. We'll see, but I'm going Ashley 5-3. What do you say, G?
I fully agree with you here. I think with Ard, I just wasn't really sure going into this matchup to begin with, but with the additional things coming on, I just don't think it's gonna help. I think for Ard, it's really just about making sure he keeps this close, especially if he gets down early. Like I think the real thing we're gonna see out of Ard is what he's gonna do if he gets down early. Is he gonna be able to fight back, or is he just gonna crawl into a ball and just not be able to do anything? So we're gonna have to see how it goes with that. I think that's the thing I'm not looking forward to. I'm gonna be looking at the closest, but I think I have Ashley 5-3. I did say I think Ashley with this bracket is going to make the Final Four again. We'll see how that goes. I'm not going to change my stance on that. I still have Ashley making the Final Four, so I'm going to lock in a 5-3 here.
All right, very good, very good. We're agreeing there. And this next one's probably an interesting match. Can DJ Curtis slow down the fastest draw in the West? I'm going to say he does, but I think Ghost ultimately ends up winning, as the computer said was 5-4 in favor of Ghost. And the only reason why I think Ghost will win this game, I think he's back. I don't know if DJ has that table knowledge. Remember, Ghost, we talk about KT. This guy's even more than me. He every single game, he's got that in his back pocket. He can sneak it in quick. I don't know if DJ's ready for that. He had some table check issues against not only myself, but he had some table check issues against Yoshi. I saw a little bit. He had some table check issues in the past. I think Ghost is going to speed up DJ's processing, and that's just going to ultimately be the thing DJ hasn't seen all year. I'm going for the upset, 10 wins, and how fitting would it be that Ashley was a 10 seed, and she'll be a 1 seed, and Ghost is a 10 seed? I think it's a really good story that could happen. What says you?
I don't think that story is going to happen. I think this is where it ends for Ghost, unfortunately. I think with DJ, I think this is one of those matches where I think DJ's able to counter the Ghost style. Definitely something to watch out for the sneaky attacks that he tries to do. I think he actually learns from your game with the sneak attacks, because usually with Curtis, he usually did a table check on those, but I think he'll know now to do the call out before he does the table check here. So I think he has a good counter to Ghost strategy, and that's why I actually have Curtis winning 5-3, because you said it before, possible comeback player of the year, and I think he's really been able to show out so far, and I think it's going to continue here with a potential deep run. So I'm liking Curtis right now. I'm going to stick with 5-3. But I think with Ghost, I think this is really a good time to use what's worked in the past and try to use that for beyond and in the rest of the season, because I think with this revitalized Ghost, I think he is looking to be back in the picture.
Yeah, he does look to get back in the picture, and I think coming in, he's got to look at this and say, hey, you know what? I'm back to where I need to be. I found my base setting, and we'll go from there. Gee, speaking of, we need to see it right here. Caesar Stingray. This has to be Caesar here, 5-3. I know the computer said 5-4. I think Caesar's got to win this game. It's a must. I know it's early. I don't even want to hear about resume junk. This is a confidence. Caesar talks about making statements all the time. You've got to go out here and win this game. You have to understand the region is yours to lose. There's no 2 seed. There's no 3. There's no 1. There's no. You don't have to go to. You have to go to Tago to a 7 seed, and then you got to go to a 9 seed, which you're playing at 14. It's his to lose. I still believe Caesar is one of the most composed players. Stingray has no composure. That's the problem. I think Caesar's not going to take that with any grain of salt. He's not going to let that go all day. Caesar 5-3. He gets on the schneid. What says you?
I'm going Caesar 5-2. I think Stingray has too many issues going on right now with his gameplay, and I think they're really starting to get exposed here. I think for Caesar, you did say it's a must-win. I think it's a similar situation as it was for Ford with the must-win at Talladega this past weekend, where not necessarily an actual must-win, but mentally and emotionally, I think it is. I think Caesar's back. I think he's definitely someone who's looking to actually make the run that he felt he should have been able to make in March, and I do believe he can do that. So I'm gonna go with a 5-2 here. I think Caesar easily takes control of this, and I think Stingray needs to go regroup and figure out what to do with the mentality issues that he's been having so far in league play.
All right, well, we'll see how that one goes. Both agree on Caesar. And then, Jay, this one, the Cinderella story at this point. Tapir on borrowed time versus Tago. I think because he's on borrowed time, he's playing with house money the rest of the tournament. I think he gets the win here 5-4, but I'm going to save the last for the hot tip. I think Tapir gets the win here 5-4 only because Tago is someone that we just don't know in this round. I know he's been to one, but previously, this is his second. I don't know too much about Tago in this round. I don't have enough data to prove that he's ready. And you got to think for Tago, man, he's played two lack of composed. I mean, Glane is not composed. ALP is not composed. Tapir, in my opinion, if this was the first day I met Tapir, yeah, composure's lacking. Not anymore. His composure's really good. He's improved that in his game. I like to see Tapir get this done, and he wins 5-4. It'll be a close battle, though. What says you?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think with Tapir, he's had a really good run so far. But I think the interesting thing with Tago is I think Tago has been doing a lot of the practice games in a bunch all over the place, and I think he's really revitalized his gameplay. So I actually think this is where the run ends for Tapir. He's technically undefeated in MRE right now. I think at some point he's gonna lose, and I think this is where it happens. I think he loses 5-3 to Tago. I think there's something I like about Tago these last few weeks, and I think he's really been able to bring that forward. And I think you mentioned not really playing against opponents who are composed. I think he's able to quickly break down the opponents, and it's been seen with his matches. So I don't think he's going to break down Tapir, but I think he's going to be able to take control of the game and very, very sneakily craft his way to a victory here. So I've liked what I've seen out of Tago so far, so I'm actually going with a 5-3 here. I think Tapir's doing a really great job, but I think at some point he's going to lose, and I think it's going to be at a point where people might think that it's expected to happen here, or expected to happen later. I think it's going to happen here, so I'm going with Tago 5-3.
Well, Cinderella run ends there for Tapir. We'll see. It should be an interesting match. Both guys have a lot to prove, I think, but more so Tago, because we know he's going to be here T3 no matter what. Tapir, we don't know. We wish him the best of whatever happens. No matter what happens with Tapir G, has to be talked about as story of the year.
Yeah.
Definitely top 5 for sure. Well, G, this is a matchup that no one saw coming. Everyone thought Sanford Dark was locked after with the whole 1 year anniversary thing. It didn't happen. Chomik won.
I didn't.
Computer has Chomik winning this one. I agree. I think Chomik wins this one 5-3. Even though it says 5-4 in the computer, I like what he's doing on split ammo. I studied that game a little bit. Not counting commentator because I was commentating just after the game, and his split ammo control was phenomenal. I think that loss to Nam earlier in March really proved that, hey, you know what? I need to control that ammo better, because he was not using that in March. He was not using that technique. His split ammo game is dangerous. I think Dark's going to have to understand Chomik is going to try to play a little bit more hybrid because he has that England experience, which England is very close to Dark. Chomik will play hybrid. He won't play too fast or too slow. He'll play a hybrid pace. I think Dark's in for a possible rude awakening. I'll go 5-3 Chomik. Keep the upset train rolling. Says you.
You already know who I'm picking. I'm picking Chomik. I picked him to make the Final Four at the start of the tournament, and I have not been proven wrong so far. Give me Chomik here. To me, this matchup screams a 5-3, maybe a 5-2. I'm gonna stick with 5-3 here. So I think Chomik gets it done. I really like what I've seen out of him so far, and I think he's really being able to use the color switches very, very, very well. So I think if he keeps that up, he's gonna be doing great for the rest of the tournament. So again, I have him in the Final Four. I'm going with Chomik. Lock that in.
Like a G. And this last one's probably going to be the most disparity memory because I have to go stick with the CP. But as much as I think Brock's going to win this game, I have to go with the justification. The only reason why I think Monkey has a chance in this game is because he has less data. And sometimes when you have less data because you didn't play the second round, you go off a recency bias, Monkey's going to try to do some unusual things that he tried in Brando, and it's going to confuse Brock. But it goes 9. I think Monkey will win this game off of just confusion. But this is the one I don't feel confident at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Brock wins this one 5-2 even. But I'm going to go Monkey here. He'll get it done. He uses a power play late. But it's going to probably be more of the closer games than people think. Gee, I'm sure you're going to be different on this one because Brock's your boy with the rookie class stuff.
Brock 5-2. I think the thing with Monkey is his main strategy is the idea of confusion. I just don't think that works here. It works anymore. I know we have a bit of chaos going on, but I don't think we have the confusion that we might have had last year. I just don't think that strategy works at this point, and I think we've seen it in a lot of his games where it's been all over the place. He put up a good fight against Ashley, but I think every single person did not think he was going to win that, and he did not. And I think this is a situation where I don't think it's the same situation as Ashley, but I think he's finding himself in a very similar situation as he did in last March. And I see it being a complete repeat of what happened last March, where he's going to lose 5-2 here. So I have Brock 5-2. I don't even know what to think with Monkey right now because he had the ridiculous Brando game, the nonsense with the DQ win here. He's all over the place, and I think last season that would have been not a bad place to be, but I think this is not this is not where that works anymore. So I'm going with Brock 5-2. I'm not having a second thought about it.
No, I don't blame you on that one for sure. Now let's go to the last topic. It's been a good episode so far. Obviously, we had to speed it up a little bit due to some press conferences coming very shortly for me, so we had to speed it up. So we're gonna keep this quick. G and KT hot take. G, what's the one hot take for this round? What do we got?
Well, my round of 64 hot take actually came true, so
Yes, every C except 16 made it.
Yep, got that one. I think that was the first time we had the. I think it was the first time we had the hot take actually come true. So. On a bit of a roll here, so we got to keep it going. Didn't have one for the round 32, of course, because I wasn't here last time, but we got to throw something in here. You know what? I didn't predict one of these, but I'm just going to throw it in here as a possibility. I think there's one sweep. I don't know where it's going to be, but I think someone gets swept, and it's going to suck, but I think someone gets swept in this round, and it's going to be a very disappointing result for the person who's on the losing end of that. But I think one of the 8 games at least ends in a sweep, and it's going to be disappointing exit for that person.
I think I said it earlier in the preseason show, the pre-show before we got to.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah, I think I said this. The winner of Dripping Captain makes the final.
Yeah.
I mean, this is this tournament. Everyone talking about. I gave him the silver platter. It's the 7 seeds for that captain. And what I saw in that press conference, man, he's a great guy. Absolutely professional. His answers were some of the most impressive answers I've ever seen in media training, G. I've been around the block when it comes to that. But some of his answers about nature and just grounding himself and being humble. He's a 5-2 player, man. And Drip, I have a lot of respect for him. Right, he's 25. He's a salesman, right? And he's got a lot of life experience. I think the winner of that gets to the finale. I really do. I think it's ready. I think one of those two are ready. I think Captain, if he does pull that off, I think he gets the momentum. He rides that 7 Seas mission, and he gets there. That's my hot take. So the winner of that's going to the finale, and rightfully so. Well, Jay, it's great to have you back, man. We missed you. It's good to have you back, man. And we look forward to seeing you back for the remainder of the year. I know you're going to have some problems a little bit when we get to May with a vacation, which is much needed.
Yeah.
But other than that, we can always have a fill-in. I mean, Sanford or Art or one of us will fill in for you. Regardless, thank you so much to G for taking time out of his day. We appreciate the life conversations. We had a couple of life convos. And yeah, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. As always, G, we'll look forward to getting this episode. Check us out on Spotify, of course, Apple Pod, and of course, our home base on YouTube. Thank you guys for all the love on the Whites. We love doing this. Shout out to Not Short.
Before we end this, also, I mean, if we're doing shout outs to Not Short, random shout out to my grandmother who actually messaged me earlier in the week that she decided to watch the podcast. So, shout outs to her.
There you go.
Appreciate the support there. I know you might not have any clue what a Charles Sanford is or a power play might be, but appreciate the support there. I always love the familial viewers there. But yeah, just a quick shout out there. You got any more shout outs, KT? Feel free to throw them out here.
Nah, man, look, that's great. It's great to have Grammy G, right? I mean, that's great to hear. That's great. I mean, I don't have anything. That's just everyone who's made this production great, man. It's been a great season. I mean, gee, we're not even in May yet. We'll start talking about our first Super League reveal show coming up very soon. That's when things start to get real in the league. Usually sometime around late May. Once you hit June 1st, Super League's on everyone's mind at that point. So looking forward to that, Jay. I got nothing else to say. For all you viewers here at Uno MRE and around the world, we appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to listen and watch. This is KT&G. We're signing up. We'll see you back for your Sandy 16 recap and the Echo 8 predictions.